A few explorers, the grenadiers divers, challet strikers. Somebody celebrate your team. Last two breakers, the Salpan breakers, Botanical Rangers. It's from the bleachers we would see. VPL is more flavor, more vibes. VPL that bring the stadium alive. VPL, this is the joy of we life. It's the Vincy Premier League. A few explorers, the grenadiers divers, poacher strikers. Somebody celebrate your team. Last two breakers, the Salpan breakers, Botanical Rangers. It's from the bleachers we would see. VPL is more flavor, more vibes. VPL that bring the stadium alive. VPL, this is the joy of we life. It's the Vincy.
And welcome back to Arnoldville Play here in Vincent, where it promised to be a compelling, scintillating day of cricket. Well, no matter what you're doing, you may have to just stop for this other half an hour to 45 minutes and watch this game, because it's qualified number one in the Vincy Premier League Cricket T10 competition, Dream 11, and we have the Botanical Garden Rangers versus Salpan Breakers. The Salpan Breakers, they have lost the toss and they will take a fielding position, while the Botanic Garden Rangers, they have won the toss and decided to bat. It will be Dylan Johnson who will be taking up the attack from the administrative end. Hiram Shallow and Emmanuel Stewart will do battle for the Botanic Garden Rangers. Hiram Shallow being one of the top scorer, and Emmanuel Stewart, he also in the second position for the Botanic Garden Rangers for run scoring. The Empire and the standing Empire will be Butler, Dayton Butler, and a wealth of experience between these umpires. As we see, it's a good hot day here for cricket. A lot is set up, and boy oh boy, we're in, and here goes the first ball of the day. Well fielded, can't pass man at shot mid of the wicket. Very well fielded here. And we still have a Lanson with us, and boy, what sets up to be a good day here for cricket. We have slip in, Captain Sunil is at slip, he marshalling the troops. We have a short third man, a point, a cover, mid on, mid off, mid on, long off. Long on, long mid off, that is mid wicket, a deep square boundary, and a short fine leg. Second delivery, Shallow tucks it them to the short mid-wicket, and the off the mark, Botanical Garden Rangers signal their leg by with to open a somewhat a quiet start, Alanson.
Yes, these two opening batsmen, they will know their worth in terms of the value that they add to their team, and they would recognize that their team is depending on them for a very solid start. Not necessarily a slow start, but they would want to keep it in hand towards the end of the innings so that they can have a go at the Salt Pan Breakers bowling. The Salt Pan Breakers, on the other hand, would want to make all the inroads so that they will put a bit of pressure on the batting lineup of the Botanical Gardens Rangers.
As you can see, the slip is in, captain. 99 is back. The breeze is blowing strong this morning, Alanson. So everything seems to be in place. The weather condition is good and excellent. The best place to be right here is the commentary box where the AC is good. And Stuart tuck that one, no run.
Yes, Stuart has played that one into the extra cover region. Fielded there by Pope. And there's no run. It's a diamond delivery. So it's a good start. You mentioned the conditions, brilliant day. And we are very grateful for this type of weather. And we are very... Well, we see that there's some spectators in the stands, and we anticipate that later on in the day the crowd would grow, and that on this week we'll have the largest crowds of the competition thus far, Kasnel.
Well, it is this weekend that things are going to wrap up, as we will say here. And this time, Stuart goes down the ground and bounces into the boundary. He starts with a 4. What a good shot that was, straight and to defense. National at 3 the boundary.
Yes, that was a very good shot there by Stuart. It was a good ball on a length, but it's on that length hit on the top of that. If the batsmen have an aggressive mindset, then they would actually go through the line. And the pitches, as we said, even though we have had so many days of cricket on them, they're still playing well enough for that type of shot to be executed by Stuart. It was a good shot, high left elbow, and he put that one straight on the ground for 4.
Someone what we call a textbook shot.
Yes, a very good shot there.
Yes, so textbook shot. And the Botanic Garden Rangers did not want to lose a wicket to DeLon in this power play, knowing that DeLon is one of the main strike bowlers for the Salt Pan Breakers. And no ball, and Dylan seems to be struggling all in the tournament with these no balls. A cardinal sin, the force over.
Yes, he hardly bowled a new ball in edition 1, but in this edition 2 he has transgressed a few times, especially in recent games, and he will need to have that rectified because he wouldn't want something like that to cost them maybe a wicket off a no ball, and of course there's a free hit that comes thereafter. Well,
as we will say, this will open the eye of Emmanuel, although they have already cleared the boundary. This is somewhat what you call a freebie. Whitton offer misses that one. So that ball.
Yes, so he doesn't pay for his transaction on this delivery, but remember that if he hadn't overstepped, this would have been the end of the over. So we don't know what will come of this one. And so 6 without loss after 5 deliveries. Cautious start, both teams kind of jostling for a strong position, achieve such in the opening over here.
The umpire is just cautioning about that white line cutting. That one is struck down the left side. Close call. Oh, misses. And this Camp won 7 without loss. 7 without loss as a signal, a leg by there by umpire Butler. Quiet start. 7 acceptable without losing a wicket.
Yes, I think both teams will be satisfied for us over thus far. Salt Pan Breakers ideally would have wanted a wicket, but they'll settle for only 7 runs. And the Botanical Gardens Rangers, they will settle for not having lost a wicket and having just a few runs on the board. So they would want to press on from here for the remainder of the power play.
Well, it will be Ryan John, who will do battle for the Salt Pan Breakers from this, the commentary end, the Grenadines end. And do you see the Botanic Garden Rangers putting themselves in a cautious position trying not to lose wicket, and so maybe the run rate may be low, or the total may be low, and then later you have to play some catch-up cricket?
Well, they'd have to ensure that they strike the right balance between conserving wickets and getting runs, because they would know that after 3 overs, they would not want to be too far below 40, even if they'd have not lost a wicket. After 4 overs, that is at the end of the power play. So they want to ensure that they're still getting runs, and that they may be going at about 8 or 9 runs and over, and then they could push on. Well,
John. No ball. Forced delivery from John, no ball. And we see a hint of swing on that delivery. That's a good sign.
Yeah, it was actually a very good delivery, a hint of away movement on a length just around off stump. It's where he don't want to be as a bowler. However, as we have mentioned about Dillon Johnson, in the last games, John has also transgressed the front line, and he would want to rectify that. These are their 2 main bowlers, and their most experienced bowlers being Windward Islands players, and they would want to ensure that their disciplines are on point, especially from here on in the tournament. Well,
Umpire Byam is the one who had judged that one and called an ball as it's a free hit. The batsmen, they have run 2 for 1, so there could be some alteration to the fielding positioning, as John will bowl to shallow. Off a free hit, he swing over the keeper. That's the safest shot in the cricket history, and it goes for 4.
Yes, he was attempting to bowl that one through the mid-wicket region, and just a little bit of extra bounce, maybe some extra pace there with the effort from John, and that one came off the top edge over the head of Sween. He didn't have a chance at reeling in that one, and of course there's never someone directly behind the keeper, so that's 4 runs.
Well, 13 without loss. We are into over number 2. See spectators just swing over the keeper. That's the safest shot in the cricket history. Still early morning. Shallow goes high and over. Made of that 6 runs. Welcome Super 6 here, as the Botanical Garden Rangers continue to range at all.
If we look at that shot, shallow, that ball was not a half volley by any means. And he also made room outside his leg so that he could loft that inside out over the long off fieldsman. That's a top shot. That's a shot of a quality. Take them on to 19. And after having only 7 runs in the first over, you know, they're getting their eye in. They're now 90 without loss after only legitimate deliveries, Kasnel.
The batting stand of Shallow is not one of an orthodox cricketer, but it's a welcome shot as this one goes down the leg side wide. A bit of naughty start, we will say, there by John, with a wealth of experience he has lying on his back.
Yes, see, so far his 2 deliveries of us team 13, well, 2 legal deliveries, and so he would want to ensure that he doesn't transgress as far as wides and no balls are concerned, because they always give the batting team extra deliveries to face, and of course those can go for more runs and will be more runs for you to chase in the end.
Well, Shallow gets a delivery. He pulls it out of his crest of the helmet. A good line bouncer, we will say. Just where you want a bouncer, just on the crest of that helmet. But with his fast hands, he was able to get that one down to the short fine leg to the fine leg boundary, not short, sorry, for 1 run.
Yes, that was a very good bouncer. Excellent direction, heading for as you would say, the peak or the crest of the helmet. And Shallow was able to just swat it down off his face, down just back out of square for the fielder at fine leg to come around, and they cross for a single. Stewart back on strike, 21 without loss.
And this delivery, another bumper. Square leg signaling 1 for over. And Stewart being a, well, if you look at Shallow and Stewart, I believe they are of the same height. And the previous delivery was something of that, and Shallow was able to pull, but this time Stewart took the evasive action of ducking.
They may have roles here that they have taken on, maybe one person to go very hard initially, and for the other to ensure that the partnership ticks along. So we'll look at their approach to see if that is what is being done here.
Another wide delivery by John.
Yes, he has to refocus here and regard his thoughts. 22 without loss. He would be disappointed so far with this over, and he would want to defy that as quickly as possible.
And if we look at the breeze that is blowing, he's bowling against that breeze, and that ball, I think it was a force ball from his over. We saw swung, and it went in the direction where the breeze is blowing here. Okay, this one is dabbed past them and a short toward. It's gone for 4 more. National Lottery 3, the boundary. It's really questionable here from John. 26 without loss. Or welcome that score there for the Botanical Garden Rangers.
So we saw you mentioned a little bit of away movement, and on that one it also had a little bit of away movement from the batsman. But I think that was a little bit overcompensation. He may have been asked to bowl just an off stump without any weight at all to either of these two. The third man is in the circle, and these two are very proficient at hitting the ball behind square on the offside. And Stewart, he just glided that one down to the boundary 4.
It is amazing that they would have the man out at deep square and get this delivery. Oh, this one past the outside edge, that away movement, just a hint of movement, not a large amount. And it's welcome as a good over, a good ball to end the over. 26 without loss after 2. A brilliant total.
Yes, they will be pleased with where they are now, the Botanical Gardens Rangers. But I'm just looking at that last delivery and maybe into some the previous one, and that is where John would want to be. And he's getting a bit of away movement. In my opinion, I think third would be served well being on the boundary based on the line that they would want to bowl, especially to these two batsmen with their strength in that region. And especially after having already signaled 1 for the over. It is unlikely that he will go to the full short ball again. When I say full shot, I mean not a halfway, but a full bouncer that is towards the helmet. And it would have been unlikely that he would have that length again. And so they could have brought in the square leg and put the third man back as Johnson comes for his second over.
Well, in the quest for wickets, Johnson look to finish up this spell as he comes in with third over. What a shot by Shallow, can't pass the man at point. And this is a trademark shot for those of us in the cricket fraternity here in St. Vincent who know Shallow. You will always need to plug that point boundary because cut shot is inevitable. Yes,
and again here for Shallow, there are 2 men just on our wrong square on the offside, which is fine based on his proficiency in that area. But I would also put my third man back for Shallow. And that's Dillon to bowl back on off stump.
This one is caught. Gone. Shallow goes with a delivery. Extra bounce on that one. And he attempted that cut shot. Botanical Garden Rangers loses their first wicket. And Shallow goes. He goes for 11.
That's a very good wicket and a very important wicket by the Saltpan Breakers. That one, Johnson, a tall bowler. And he got that one to get a little bit of extra lift off the surface, digging that one in, and it was there for the delivery. And there was Shallow. He was looking to cut that one again, his favorite shot. But also the angle of Johnson coming around the wicket, crapping a little bit for room. And we saw the first one that he cut to point. He had backed away, which he did on this occasion as well. But then the bounce defeated him. So good wicket for the Saltpan Breakers. The Botanical Gardens Rangers would want to have a big partnership between these two for the second wicket and to keep the momentum going. They are 26 for 1 as Kotoy comes to the crease as now.
Right, so Kieran Kotoy, he played a splendid innings in the early part of the preliminary, and the Botanic Garden has trusted him in that one down position. He will also come to the party as Stewart is there on 9 from 9 and 11.14 current run rate. And Dylan Johnson came back into the attack. He really wanted a wicket as a captain, searching, and he delivered.
Yes, he has come up trumps for the captain time and time again, and I know the both of them, they have, as the most senior players of the team, with the most experience in first-class cricket, and in the case of Sunil as well, international cricket, they would come up with plans and how to execute, and they would be very happy with that wicket. Kotoy having gotten the fastest 50 of the tournament so far, Kaznel.
This one, he steers it past the first slip, coming down to the third man boundary, 4 runs. What a way to get off the mark. And I think that can set the momentum for Kieran. A welcome 3 to the boundary as the total moves on to 30 for 1. The Botanic Garden Rangers. To open your account.
Yes, that one was another lifting delivery, just around off stump. He played it well in the end, considering that it was his first delivery. He got over the bounce, and he was able to get it wide of the man that slipped there, Sunil, and it went away for 4. But that is a line that they don't want to bowl. Just around off stump, get the lift that he gets with his height, and the slip should be in play.
Ooh, and he's got him. Gone. Judge caught behind a ripping delivery. Passes well, it appears that it has nicked the governor with you. Empire Butler made the decision, and boy oh boy, Dillon Johnson 2 in the over.
There's a big over so far, and it can shape the outcome of this innings and maybe the outcome of the match. Excellent play by Dillon. He knows Katoa very well. He will know what his mindset would be and his approach. And he has been charging at the bowlers. So he charged on this delivery, but Dillon was ready for him. Went in short, and of course, being down the wicket, very difficult to react that quickly to the delivery of that nature. And that one, a judge should have come off the glove. We are very far away, so of course we would depend on the umpire to make the right decision because we can't see from up here. And so a good delivery there, a big wicket for Botanical Gardens Rangers.
It's a ripping delivery what we will see here. I think give kudos, as we will say, to Dillon, because he saw him coming, as you rightly said, charging, and then boy, you really used the tough on that one. And that delivery actually let him smell the leather.
Smell it, yes, yeah. Smell it.
And in doing so, he was able to hand the swing for a catch, caught behind, and Dillon strike. The Botanic Garden Rangers, they're 30 for 2 as Donwell Hector comes to the crease. I think it's somewhat of a balanced trade now.
Yes, and Dillon would have been saying to, well, with that delivery, he said to Katoy, I might not be as fast as I used to be, but don't come running on pitch me.
Nonsense, utter rubbish. I will not accept that one. So here we go. There's one. Hector tries to cover, can't pass the man at cover. The Botanic Garden Rangers, the batsmen, the batsmen in the top orders, they have got little knocks and little welcome scores that will see them, because the Botanic Garden Rangers middle order, to me, from my vantage point, a bit who you can rely on. If the top order goes, the middle order can perform for you. This time he pulls a short delivery. Well, 6 runs. What a shot that is. A very fierce shot. And boy, he got the treatment, a dogling delivery, and it went for 6.
Yes, I think the last delivery that he had, and being the main strike bowler, he was a little bit greedy. He wanted a wicket there, definitely. So he was hoping that since Hector was new at the crease, that he would have defeated him with the short delivery, which he did, but there was enough pace on it and enough of an edge. You know that the edges on these bats are quite big these days, that it went all the way for a super 6.
Well, super 6 it was, as 36 for 2. The Botanic Garden Rangers, as we see spin being introduced for the first time. Harry comes into the attack. As a captain or with the Southampton Breakers, the Botanic Garden 36 or 2, would you have bring in a medium pace somewhat, seeing that the pace have already extracted some questions from the wicket?
Yes, it might have been a good opportunity to use maybe a Jeremy Lane to introduce him from this end. They have a lot of confidence in Javed, especially with his experience, and let's see how he goes here.
The shot is into the turf. As is Stewart, and it's the first time I've seen Stewart on the strike for about over or so.
Yes,
I almost forgot his batting.
A lot will depend on him from here on. He would be given the mantle to play throughout the innings.
Okay. Harry. Oh, delivery sliding down the leg side, Hector. Looking for one.
Yes, that was a good delivery by Harry, and you could see why they have introduced him now. With some wickets down, he's a bowler that is able to bowl very tightly. And the batsman will be in a conservative, they will have a conservative mindset at this point. And he's not the bowler who will give you a lot of bad deliveries. He's generally there or thereabouts on a good length and a good line. And so unless you are willing to take some risk against him, generally he will keep the scoring down.
Well, so far so good in the over. 37 for 2. This one is stuck into the...
So that one is turned to mid-wicket. Hector gets a single. He's 7 off deliveries, 2 over 10 off 10. 38 for 2. Here in over number 4, the final over of the power play. Harry to bowl to Stewart.
This one down the ground. Cleans up by Johnson. This is go 2 for 1. And we're just on the brink of the power play. Would you say it would somewhat a quiet power play? Well, it's bowling. Caught, sorry. Ball and caught. Hector was just talking about the brink of the power play. Well, now the balance of scale seems to be switching now into the favor of the Southern break, because the Botanic Garden Rangers 39 for 3 is the end of the power play.
Yes, after those 4 overs, even before this delivery was bowled, you might have said, well, the Southern breakers would be happy so far with the power play, having taken 2 very key wickets of 2 potentially destructive batsmen. But with that last delivery that Harry bowled in the 4th over, and having taken a wicket there, they will now feel that they are firmly in ascendancy in the opening bouts here of the qualifier number 1 of the VPL Dream 11 competition. And so the new batsman is the captain, Demba. A lot will rest on his shoulders today with bat and with ball later on, as he looks to relinquish Steve from this position and to get them to a score that they feel like they can defend against the powerful Salpan Breakers. So there we have the scorecard so far for the Botanical Gardens Rangers. Stewart not out on 11. Demba hasn't faced yet. Cutaway dismissed for 4 by Johnson. Shallow dismissed for 11 by Johnson. And those 2 catches were taken by keeper Sween. Hector just caught and bowled by Harry for 7 of 6 deliveries. And for the bowling, so far Johnson, he has taken 215 off 2 overs. John was a bit expensive in his solitary over, and Harry has taken a wicket, 1 for 3 in his first over, as Jeremy Lane comes in to the attack to bowl to Emmanuel Stewart. Very, very, very good feeling there by O'Neill Thomas, the good fine leg, and he almost effected the run out there of Stewart. Stewart is very fleet foot, and that really saved him there. He ran very hard, and in the end it was a well judged too. But that was very good feeling there by Thomas at fine leg, as the batsmen have crossed for 2. It's 41 for 3 after 4.1.
Well, current run rate now going at 9.84. As you have your wish, in Jeremy Lane.
Yes, so they have kept him for outside of the power play, which they have done for most of the tournament. He's bowled well in the middle overs, and they will be hoping for that again today.
He's bowled him. Emmanuel is gone. Boy. Question asked, 41 for 4. Reckless shot.
Yes, that was a very, very, very bad shot for Stewart. Knowing the situation of the game and what depends on him as the opening batsman, who most likely will not have battery innings, he really didn't need to take that type of risk against Lane. Lane has been bowling well in the tournament. Bowled a very, very good line and length. And there again, he was on the stumps. If you miss, as Michael Holland says, I hit. And that's a massive wicket now in the context of what we have had thus far. and it brings Atticus Brown to the crease to replace him, and the score is 41-4.
Well, if we also look at Chuck, he lost his shape totally, which makes him look a bit comical.
Yes, it may have been a slow delivery. I'm looking from where we are standing. Lane has not been really trying to bowl too quickly throughout the tournament. He has complained that he has a bit of a niggle in his back, and of course, back niggles can be quite dangerous, especially for bowlers in cricket, but for anyone in any sport, in any walk of life. And so he is bowling well within himself and looking to bowl very good lines and lengths, and it has paid off for him in the tournament thus far.
Well, it is paying off here for the Southbound Breakers. It appears as if the Rangers, they're not ranging anymore. It seems as they want to do some rebuilding to the range. As we see, Lane comes in as Atticus faces up. He tucked it in delivery. That's what he... And when we look at Atticus, he has the pedigree of a good batsman, but there has just been something that he has not been bringing to the game. Is it that the shorter version is too much of a question for him? Because he plays cricket well. He's a very talented batsman, but he needs that time. I do not foresee that this version of the game do justice to him. So it's tucked into the offside. Yes.
He can still be effective in this version, Kaznel, but he just would have to know that he has to change his approach just a little from what he does in the other versions. And so in terms of constructing his innings, he has to have a different mindset. Maybe he will be a couple of balls get in, but even while doing so, he probably need to look for the singles a bit more. So at least his strike rate might be around 100 off his first 5 or so deliveries, and then from there he could try to express himself just that bit more. And Lane, with that wicket, he goes even further to the top of the table. He's now there 11 wickets.
Well, another delivery fishing outside the arse. Some question asks. Up goes that jetted finger. The captain then goes, now the ship is in serious problem.
Yes, so he has 12 wickets and Dylan Johnson has 11 with today's performance. So the Southbound Breakers, their bowling attack is doing a trick for them. They have the two bowlers who have taken the most wickets in the tournament thus far, and the two of them have bowled this morning like they are the leading bowlers in the tournament.
At any point, that is what you would want to see. I think that delivery was a bit too, as we look at that one, look at the foot movement for them, but is and the body, or the back positioning is, he's looking to steer that one somewhat down toward man. And in doing so, he was able to just get a faint edge and judged out by Butler. And he goes, the Botanical Ranger, in serious, desperate trouble here. And it will need Del Plesh to come now and somewhat rescue the range from falling apart.
Yes, the Rangers here, the Botanical Gardens Rangers, they really have to reassess their position and assess their approach for the other 5 overs. They need to make sure that they bat the 10 overs. That is of paramount importance here. And not aim too high from this position in terms of the runs that they would want to get.
Well, this one, forced delivery over the top of short third man. They goes for 4. The total moves on to 46 or 5. Half of the team is down and they're under 50. What total should we look at?
Well, I was about to say before that delivery that Lane, he has bowled well within himself and he was sticking to his plan. But I think that last delivery he got a little greedy for wickets. Yes. So it was there he went for a little quicker delivery. He bent his back a little bit more on that one, but it was too short, too wide, and that was a shot by the Peshawar National Lotteries Authority, 384. So they're at 46 now. I think what they need to do for the next 2 overs is to ensure that they're there for 5 down. And maybe up until the 8th over. Even if they score maybe 20 runs, 15 to 20 runs. And then from there on, you'll be about 60 runs. You try to go now at the last 2 or 3 overs and see what you can get. A score of 90, who knows, you might be able to defend it. 85, they have been defended so far in the competition.
Well, that brings the captain Captain Ambrose into the attack as he starts with a wide. A welcome wide there for the Botanical Rangers. Move the total to 47. Ambrose also is a wicket taker in this version of the game. As Atticus goes trying to sweep, and just as I was saying, a wicket taker, Ambrose is a very reckless shot there by Atticus Brown. He goes out back to the hut, that lonely dreaded walk to the players' pavilion, and the Botanic Garden Rangers, well, they look like they are lone Rangers, 47 for 6.
Well, on Monday, I'm just remembering something from Atticus's batting. On Monday, in the game on Monday when the Botanical Gardens played, he played a very exquisite drive, a lofty drive for 6 runs over long off. That delivery was at a similar length, a similar line, gave him the room that he could have lofted the ball on the offside, which is more akin to his approach to batting, right? But somehow I think that his mindset is, well, this is it, and let me slug sweep the ball. But it wasn't really there for the shot. It was a bit too wide, and so it got the top edge, and he was dismissed.
Well, Samuel to the crease. Samuel is a very powerful left-hander. Can strike the ball very well. Plays first division cricket for the police team, and good ask. Well, at this time, it's somewhat of the tail enders now who have to do rebuilding, and half of the team gone for over half of the team gone for less than 50 runs.
Yes, and Sunil is a shrewd captain and also a shrewd bowler, and he will be making sure that he tightens the screws as much as possible in these overs.
This delivery tucked into the mid-wicket region. They're going for one. Takes on the arm of Cavo, as we would call him, Ricardo Williams. They're back for 2. You also need to know that Delplesh and Samuel, they are good runners between the wicket. They play for the same club. And before Samuel started to play for the police, he played for the North Leeward. So we see one shot there, as we see a slip being deployed by captain. He's really seeking for a bowling out of this team. Short delivery, cut away past the man at point, going out to the boundary. 4 runs. What a welcome shot, a positive cricket shot like an opener.
That's a good shot, and it was a shot that was risk-free. The ball was short enough, and it was a good shot there executed by Samuel. As you mentioned, he has the ability to bat. So even though he's coming in at number 8, he's by no means a rabbit, and that was a good shot, and that actually showed that would be something that a top order batsman would be proud of. That cut shot, he was over it, he rolled his wrist over it, got it into the gap, it sped away for 4.
Well, singing delivery, cut away onto the sweeper, and the cover boundary comes off the boundary nicely. And what will be good to reveal here is that the Tawada, they have played some reckless cricket shot, and the pitch is still true. It is still genuine. Had you stayed there, now we are seeing slips being deployed. There we are into the 67th over, and slips have been deployed. Something that we never see so far in this tournament.
Well, that is testament to 2 things in terms of the field position that you mentioned before. It's testament to 2 things. It's testament, 1, to the attacking mindset of Captain Ambrose, but it's also testament to the current position of the team that he's playing against, having 6 wickets down. You have them on the floor, you'd want to go for the juggler and ensure that you restrict them to as low as possible, and the best way that is by taking wickets.
As we say now, the hunting season, we want to go for the kill.
Definitely.
Metaphorically. Well, we'll see Harry is switching ends. He's now coming from the administrative center end, and he will bowl to Samuel. Somewhat left hand spin to the left hand batsman. Will be an off break to him.
Yeah, so he'll be turning into him, although I don't think Harry will be bowling very slowly to get much turn. His mindset will be a restrictive one at this point, even though his team is in the ascendancy.
Oh, a full delivery misses there by Samuel. And Harry, I will warn him, he has to be very careful with his length because Samuel takes a toll and it's going to travel very far. And that is what I'm talking about. That is what I'm alluding to. A delivery that just fight up there and then Samuel cheated it with a distinct 6 runs.
Again there, you saw he was kind of searching for a wicket. One had a generous flight on it. And if you look at the way Javid bowls, the way that he's set up as a bowler, he doesn't like the ball very often. He does from time to time, but he doesn't do it very often. And so when he does it, it almost is telegraphed. And that was very good super 6 by Samuel.
Well, this one he pungs it into the ground and they scamper you for 1 as they're looking for a second, but there's no run there for the second. 60 for 6 is up into the 6th over. Alanson, well, 9.47, not accepted in the runs in the wicket come, but still a good setup for a blistering end.
Yeah, that's the issue. The issue is the 6 wickets that they have lost, and they need to ensure that at the end of 10 overs that they are still batting and the innings doesn't last for shorter than that.
For 1. And we made mention earlier on about the opening pair playing cautiously. They had a good start. They were playing cautious cricket, but from the time Shallow went, we saw wickets tumbling like a pack of cards. Good sensible batting here by the Spares. They took it into the outfield and they come back for 2, and it's well backed up there. A good run, sensible cricket.
Yes, that is good cricket, and I was waiting on the delivery to comment on what you were saying about what has been a collapse since the bit of Shallow. And what you have seen from some of the batsmen is you have to question some of the shots that have been played. There were good deliveries that have been bowled, of course, but we'd have to question some of the shots that have been played, some of the approach that we have seen, the approaches that we have seen from the batsmen in some cases.
Well, yes, a judge run out this time, 1 too many, and boy oh boy, the Botanical Garden Rangers lose another wicket to the run out route, 63 for 7.
Yes, he's run out there by Ornell Thomas. We already mentioned that he's a very good fielder and he already executed a couple of good stops for the morning thus far, and there was one close run out to him already. Now with 6 wickets down, there is no need for you to take that type of risk to a fieldsman of Thomas's ability. Maybe to a different fieldsman you may take the risk, but on this team you have some quick movers and they are good fieldsmen. You have Pear, you have Pope, you have Thomas. These are young men. They are fit, they are fast, they have good arms, and you would think twice before you take such a risk single with six wickets down at the time, now 7, to these young men.
Well, 7 wicket, that brings Kimali Williams into the attack for the Botanical Garden Rangers.
Williams has not done a lot of batting thus far for the tournament. He is more renowned for his bowling, but he will have to give some support here to his other batsman, which is Samuel, who is shaping up like he knows about batting, and he has done well so far, so he needs to keep going.
Oh, this one is splashed to the leg, running out to the fine leg boundary. It will now recovered, pulled back into gone for 4. 4 runs welcome there by Samuel, and it's 67 for 7. Welcome National to the boundary.
So yes, as you mentioned, they are keeping up with the run rate, but they're losing wickets. And if they continue losing wickets, they may not get the 10th over. But that was a quicker delivery there by Sunil.
This delivery is flicked into the left side, could be taken. It goes for 6, a welcome 6. Really, Samuel has come to the party, and I warned out that loose delivery, and they can travel far.
I think what Sunil is trying to buy a wicket. But I don't think that is absolutely necessary at this point. I know he really wants to bowl them out very quickly and to see what he can get on the bowling. But you could just continue with the disciplines that you have had thus far and, restrict the batsmen and let them make error. It's a limited overs game. And, of course, the most they can bat is just for about another 3 overs. No matter, and you have 3 wickets. They have only 3 wickets in hand, so you're bowling to the lower order here.
So welcome wide there for the Botanic Garden Rangers. Delivery, full delivery. Samuel misses on that one. I think that Samuel will be the one that has to take most of the strike from now on. Williams also can strike the ball, but to put him at this position to striking will be a tall ask.
Yes, so they would be, the fieldsmen have to be on the toes in 5th and the 6th deliveries and maybe the 4th deliveries of overs if Samuel is on strike, because they will want to rotate.
Oh, this delivery. Bowl him. He's bowled. Played all over that delivery and it hit the off stump. Samuel goes and the Botanical Rangers as well. They're looking gloomy, as we will say.
Well, looking at those last 2 or 3 deliveries, and reassessed what I am seeing, well, what I saw from Ambrose to Samuel, it seems as if he has been looking for, and even when he went down to fine leg for 4, he has been looking to York Samuel. Probably noticed something in his technique, that his back lift is quite high, and that he might be more susceptible to the Yorker. And he eventually got it right on this last delivery, going under the bat, hitting the off, and Samuel has been dismissed.
Well, it will be amazed to see whether or not the Botanic Garden Rangers bowl out under the 10 overs. Very somewhat of an ill-disciplined kind of cricket from the Botanic Garden Rangers in their wicket column. And that brings Providence to the crease. And it's now locked down to the bowlers to do battle for the Botanic Garden Rangers.
Yeah, so Ambrose will be happy with the position of his team. And he'd want to go for the juggler, as we say, 74 for 8. So the runs are still coming and at a fair clip, but the wickets are also coming at a fair clip.
At a faster clip. Swept down the left side. Can pass them a short fine. End of the 8th over, 74 for 8. We have 2 new batsmen at the crease. They are not off the scorecard as yet.
Yeah, so they're going at 9.25 and over. They have 2 overs remaining. The job of these 2 will definitely be, at least let us go into the last over and let's see what we can get from there. They would not want to, let's say, fall all out in this over for 80, when probably get into the last over and get 85. So it's about the mindset and the approach from here on. Every run counts. Every run counts. We always that in cricket. Every run counts. And we could repeat that over and over because there is a possibility that this game could still end up being a tie game. So every run counts, Kaznel, as we see a change in the bowling.
Well, that brings back John into the attack to bowl a penultimate over. And Kemal is really a handy batsman. You cannot really done and dusted him out. He can give it an odd boundary that is welcome. But John, who has a wealth of experience, didn't really have a good first over. In this condition, in this position, he will be an ideal man to bring back at this time.
Yes, they will want him to wrap up the tail. But I think the approach of the Botanic Gardens Rangers should be to get a single off every delivery if possible. And if you have a bad ball, then you could try to hit it for 4. But do not try anything extravagant. You're already 8 down. So try to get maybe 85 runs. Knock the ball around. You may get a bad ball, may get an extra. Certain things may happen. Especially coming to the end of the 10th over when you know the pressure is more on the bowler. And so you push it and carry it deep, as MS Dhoni would say.
Right, so a little bit of redressing to the field setting. As Kimali goes high and hard over point. One bounce into the boundary, 4 runs. Welcome boundary there for the Botanic Garden Rangers. I was just alluding to the little handy boundary that Kimali could give you in the beginning of the game.
Yeah, that was not the best of deliveries from John in this context. He was wanting to bowl, maybe either he's going to test out the pitch in terms of his length to bowl quicker and shorter, or he's going to be in the York region at this stage.
Pulled away to the mid-wicket Irish longer region. They come to for one. As Spear cleans up. And they go to for one. Kimali moves on to 5 from 2. Providence now comes into the attack. And the Botanic Garden Rangers 79 for 8. And we just turn on in the television. It's the Botanic Garden Rangers versus the Southern Breakers. It's qualifier number 1 in the GM11 Vincy Premier League. And yes, you're seeing right in the wicket column. 8 wickets down for 79 runs. Oh, pitched up delivery. Misses on that one from Providence. As he looked to play a nice textbook drive, we'll see.
And I think that would be more around the length. You know, just around that region would be around the length that John would be wanting to bowl. I look at that Kimali Williams has faced up. He stands rather upright at the crease, and so the back of a length favors him in terms of his approach.
A slow delivery flicked away out to the mid-wicket boundary. 4 more. A welcome boundary again. Man, this time by Providence. 83 for 8. The Botanic Garden Rangers are searching for 90.
Well, I will tell you something. Ryan John will owe his team today some runs. For bowl of his experience and his pedigree, he will be very disappointed with some of the deliveries that he has bowled today. And that was not a good one by any means.
Well, this time this one is tough. Well, this could be a run out, a misfield there by John. Would you tag it as a challenging day for him so far, or is just that one is just a misfield?
Well, you know, all of us, we have played cricket, and sometimes you have days when things just don't go your way. But it's not the end of the day yet. He probably will get a bat, and he can contribute with that as well. That's one of the benefits of being an all-rounder. You have many facets of the game that you can contribute with. If you're a batsman and you go for a duck and you don't bowl or do anything else, then you're thinking to yourself, well, at least let me see if a catch could come my way if to run out. But the all-rounders, they have many options.
Well, we're into over number 9. Final delivery. Pull away. Can pass John. He completes the 9th over. A short delivery misses. Just under 9.3. Well, 9.33 the current run rate. And we've seen the 10th over being bowled.
So they have not lost a wicket in this over, which is crucial. And so they have 2 wickets going into the last over. And the last over will be bowled by, let's see. It seems like Jeremy Lane will be bowling the last over. He has been given that job this year, this time around. They do not have Reswick Straw in their team as they did last year. And he was the one who was tasked with bowling at the death. And it seems that Lane has been given that task this year. So it's one thing we have noticed from the Saltpan Breakers through the competition is that it seems as if the bowlers have set roles. And they know what their roles are, and you get to do your role game after game after game, so you're able to perfect your role over time. And it is paying off here for them back end of competition, Casnell.
Well, and this has been the back end where Lane, not discrediting his potential of bowling during the tournament, but it has been the back end he have really mastered most of his wickets. As we see. This time he swings it down the leg side. Wide goes by, and a welcome boundary, 5 wides. And look at the time to have 5 wides. It's 89 for 8.
Yeah, we're looking at the delivery. Yes, he went a ride there with an odd in terms of his line. It seems as if, based on the length that we saw deliver, that he's looking for the Yorker. But we think that Sween could have done a better job and got his body behind that one and the pads and prevented the extra forms.
And you believe because of the heat of the sun, a little fatigue starts to kick in? Bowl him! His ball, just as you are alluding to that Yorker length delivery, struck straight into the stumps, and Jeremy Lane goes to another wicket, and the Botanic Garden 89 for 9.
Yes, so Lane now has 13 wickets in the tournament, and it seems like if he wants to put, as we say in St. Vincent, a length He wants to put a length between himself and the person at second. He will do well to do so because Dillon has 11. But as we mentioned on the previous delivery, it seemed as if his plan was to bowl Yorkers. The first one went to the right, seemed as if his wrist just pushed it a little bit down the leg side. But this one, he got right on target, and you could see the replay there. That's a very good delivery. It seemed to have a little bit of inside edge as well, and a little bit of inward movement there. And that's a very good delivery by Lane, and it brings the final batsman to the crease for the Botanical Gardens Rangers, Romario Bibi. You'll be very familiar with some of these gentlemen, cousin, having played with them in the local cricket and also with this team in the last edition.
Well, Romario Bibi, he can handle his hand. I would tell you, he would not want to out since there's 5 deliveries remaining. He, has a positivity in him that he's a batsman. So we will look to see what he has to offer to Lane. This delivery is... Well, look at that. Look at that. This camper 2 for 1, but it's a leg by. So maybe it's not off the mark as yet. I think the message was to get Kimali on strike, Williams.
Yes, that may have been the message that he received. And if he's a batsman and he's batting at number 11, then the team has a very strong batting line.
Well, that's it. They have a good pay for batsman. But it is, everyone's a batsman, but
Well, that's true. Everybody has to bat.
Right.
And that last delivery we saw, in this case, some wing movement, and that one defeated Bibi there, but they were able to cross with a single.
Well, Kimali swing and miss. The swinging is not positioning himself for the shot. He's just trying to depend on his reach. And once that ball is in his arc, that can be dispatched.
And that might be what Bibi is telling him now. Look at the ball, get yourself in a better position, and then you'll be able to make contact. Giving him advice as the batsman.
Are you saying that that Bibi cannot offer advice? It's a fine shot over point, going out to the boundary. The third man comes around, he cleans it up, and they're coming back. Look at this comical error, and I think this is it. This is the end of it. Romario Bibi is run out, looking to come back for the second, and boy, oh boy, the Botanic Garden Rangers, they're all out for 90 in the 10th over, actually it's 9.5 overs. Boy, the Botanic Garden Rangers all out for 90. Alanson.
I was about to say that the advice that Bibi gave him did have paid off because he got contact with the next delivery. But that should have always been 2 runs. The plan is to get yourself on strike. We have seen Marley Williams in the field in the tournament, and he's a quick mover. And really and truly, he should have been able to at least, even if not get back for two, attempting today would have shown that you are on the ball in terms of your thinking and your approach. And really and truly, that should have been 2 runs because he needs to be on strike. No discredit to Bibi and his batting.
Well, it is a lotto number scorecard, you will see. Just a standout score of a 24 from Samuel from 13 ball, 11 from Shallow, 13 from Stewart. And really, it's just the national 3 numbers that are there.
Well, when you look at the scorecard, 91 all out, I think that all out part would be the most disappointing part for them. 91 is a score that is possible to defend that score if you have a very good start and you keep taking wickets throughout. As we saw here, that is how they were restricted to 91 because they kept losing wickets, and so that restricted them. And we saw Shallow, he was caught swinging Bowl Johnson for 11 or 7 deliveries. Emmanuel Stewart, Bowl Lane, 13 of 13. Ketoy, he was caught swinging Bowl Johnson for 4 of 2 deliveries. Hector caught and Bowl Harry 7 of 6. Demba caught swinging Bowl Lane for North. Brown also was dismissed with a scoring call with his ball Ambrose. Delpesh run out 6 or 4 deliveries. Samuel, will his innings come back to be the thing that actually got Botanic Gardens Rangers get them over the line in this game? Who knows? 24 of 13. Williams not out 6 or 5. Zimron Providence, Bowl Lane 5 or 5, and Bibi run out without scoring.
And it will be quite interesting to see the bowling stat in terms of the amount of ball, because despite the fact that they have lost wicket, they have got a very a crucial score of 91. It has always been competitive, 91 region, 100 region. But a team like Southbound Breakers, they did very well to bowl.
Well, a quick math addition to those dots that I see there, it means that they have bowled, I see 14 plus 18, 32. They have faced 32 balls, and that is out of 60. That's more than half, yes. That's more than half of the deliveries. Johnson, he took 2 wickets for 15. Good spell by him. He made the early inroads. John, unfortunately, he was a bit off the mark today, and he went for 29 runs off his 2 overs. Harry, 1 for 13 off 2. Very good spell, tight spell. Lane, again, that 3 for 12, and he's extending his lead at the top. He's now on 13 wickets so far for the tournament. Ambrose, the spell, 2 overs, 2 for 18, and we see there now from that if you look at the fall of wickets, they had a fairly good start, but look at the intervals between those in terms of runs. It meant that there was really never, other than the opening partnership, the most significant partnership thereafter was 15, and that was for 9 wickets. And that would be something that disappoints them when they have an analysis and sit down and think about what they have done thus far today.
Well, this is compelling cricket here at the Adamsville playing field. It is the Southbound Breakers. They will be taking up the batting when we do come back from a short break. We're going to break, and it's the Containers Delight. We will be back shortly for the Dream 11 Vincy Premier League T10 cricket competition run trace from the Adamsville playing field here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Remember, it's more vibes, more flavor, and we're bringing it to you just as it is. We will be back shortly.
It's from the bleachers we would see VPL. It's more flavor, more vibes. VPL. That bring the stadium alive. VPL. This is the Royal Willie Life. It's the Vincy Premier League. The few explorers, the Grenadines divers, 4 Charlotte strikers. Somebody celebrate your team. Last team breakers, the Southbound Breakers, Botanical Rangers. It's from the bleachers we would see VPL. It's more football, more vibes. VPL. That bring the stadium alive. VPL. This is the joy of we life. It's the Vincy Premier League. few explorers, the grenades divers, 4 charlotte strikers. Somebody celebrate your team. Last two breakers, the salt pan breakers, Botanical bridges. It's from the bleachers we would see. VPL is more flavor, more vibes. VPL to bring the city of my life. VPL, this is the joy of my life. It's the Vincy Premier League. Hills, mountains, high, man, woman, shy, down, Vincy, hands up high, and let me hear you say.
And we're back. G11 Vincy Premier League T10 cricket competition where we are giving you more flavor, more vibes. We're coming to you live from the picturesque Adamsville playing field. And boy, it's the gem of the Antilles, Vincy and the Grenadines, where we have the Botanic Garden Rangers versus the Southbound Breakers. And this is qualifier match number 1. We still have Alance with us. Alance, the Botanic Garden 91 all out. What do you think should the mindset going into defending 91?
Well, they will need all the wickets, but at the same time, they should not be overly experimental in terms of getting those wickets. They still need to get off to a good start. They will definitely want to see the back of Ambrose, who has anchored the batting. And when I say anchored, it don't necessarily mean that the anchor has been stuck in one position, because he has been motoring on at a strike rate of 196. But I mean that he has battened through and really guided his team on most occasions in the tournament. And so if they remove him early, it may set a little bit of panic among the batsmen.
The ploy of pace, we saw the Southbound Breakers, they started with pace. The Botanic Garden, they're going to start with Kimali. He's also in the top contender of wicket.
Yes, he has 9 wickets so far for the tournament. Before today, he was second on the list. Of course, now Lane and Johnson have taken those wickets in that innings. He's now at 3rd on the list of wicket takers. And he would want to put his hand up here for his team and take off a few early wickets to get them going.
Well, it's one short delivery. Not short enough that the umpire have to signal. Just being caution about running on that danger zone. So Empire Butler just asking him to just ease off, but coming around that wicket with the arm action of he's kind of leaning into the danger zone area. But Empire Butler just caution him a bit about it.
Yeah, he'll be hard pressed to come off the surface based on his action. But you could see here he has a different.
This one is into the leg, wide of final leg. A bit of misfield, and comes for the second. Something that the Botanic Garden Rangers will not need at this time.
Yes, looking at his approach here, he is looking to bowl. Well, he has opted to go around the wicket and angle the ball across Ambrose. And whether it is that Ambrose being a very strong onside player, not that he can't play through the offside, he has shots all on the ground, but they might be looking to take away some of his pet shots.
Delivery. I think the bail is dropped off at the striker end before it was delivered. So right away the standing umpire signaling dead ball as we look at that replay to make sure that there is not a decision, but a signal dead ball there by the umpire. But And the Serpent Breakers, they are 2 without loss after 2 deliveries.
Yes, if that bail hadn't fallen, that would have been an interesting one because that delivery was quite full. That delivery was quite full, and it may have been close to a leg before decision.
Well, this one is tucked in again into that rib area. And we see that, as you rightly alluded, Kimali Williams is coming around the wicket to Ambrose, kind of cramping for space.
Yes, he's looking to do that, and so far, unlike the explosive starts that Ambrose has gotten against him in some of the previous matches, getting some boundaries away of the first couple of deliveries, he at least has kept the first few to some singles. And so Lewis now comes into strike. He'll also be quite familiar with Lewis. They're from a similar close areas, North Leeward area in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And so he'll be bowling to Lewis. And the 2 fielders out are the deep fine leg and the man at deep square leg.
As we tucked him up, Lewis goes off the mark as they coming back for the second. This could be close. Could be close. He's out, I guess. From my standpoint, there was never 2 there. And boy, oh boy, is it that the West has on? The Serpent Breakers, they have lost their first wicket to a run-out route. And we see the run-out route had finished in the last ball, well, somewhat of the Botanical Rangers now. The Serpent Breakers, they lose their first wicket to a run-out route, 3-for-1.
Well, when you look at that run in there, 2 was on the cards, yes, but there was some hesitation by Lewis as he was turning back for the second. And that little split second of hesitation seemed to have cost him his wicket. And when he was at the strikers and when he made the turn, as we see here from the replay, of course, the camera now pans out to the fieldsman. Yes, you see that split, that little stutter. And I don't think if you look at this side on, if there's a side on angle, that he was out by that far. Maybe a foot or so, maybe 2 feet, less than a meter, I think. And that little stutter, that would make the difference of about that when you get to the other end.
Crucial thinking there. Great analysis there, Alans. But at this point, you cannot determine the nature of the game as Ricardo Williams, strong right-hand batsman. It's a very powerful fair to bring in at this time the power play area. And something that the Botanic Garden Rangers, tantamount of, getting wickets in that power play region as Kimali comes in a wrong wicket to Ricardo. Another run out, can it hit? Another would have put him in trouble. Demba this time misses the run out, and boy, it is drama and excitement here. So if you're watching your television, please leave your fingernails alone. It is not there yet.
So it's 4-for-1, and you could see a little bit of communication here between Ambrose and Ricardo Williams, is number 3 batsman, and he's gesticulating there. He's showing, maybe are you hearing my call? Are you hearing what I'm saying? Because he was off quite early, but Ricardo, he had that little bit of delay in responding. So he's saying, it's my call. Are you hearing me? So did you hear me when I said yes?
Well, I wonder if it's a strong wind that is blowing in the air, because we see the national flag. It's really taking a toll, a beating. And along with palm trees, they're really waving in the distance there as Kimali to Ambrose. Short delivery, pull away. Well, stop there on the square leg boundary. And they come through for 1. Very well fielded there by Samuel. And applause by the entire field. And boy, 5-for-1. A lot of drama in the first over there.
Yes, and that last delivery is where he doesn't want to be, which is why he's going around the wicket to try to angle it across the batsman, because just back of a length around leg stump is a very strong area for Ambrose. But thankfully that for the Botanical Gardens Rangers team and for Kimali Williams, Samuel, he came around and executed a good stop, keeping the batsman down to 1. Well,
we will see Del Plesh now comes into the attack. He will be very cautious against Ambrose, and you need to note that Del Plesh have a very good slow ball that has been captivating, and that has not been picked by much of the batsmen in this tournament. And he being the first time in this VPL drafting, he really have put his hands up.
Yes, he has been one of the standout players for the Botanical Gardens Rangers team, and being a first-timer in a tournament of this nature, he has not done himself any disservice at all in terms of his performance, and he must be commended for his performance far. But all of that will not be in his mind right now. He'll be looking to dismiss Ambrose and give his team a chance of fending 91 that they made.
Well, let's see. As Delplesh comes in and bowls to Ambrose, tucked in again, 2 mid-wicket. They're looking to go for one, and Shallow do the cleaning up.
Yeah, so we see that is an area of strength for Ambrose, but if that is there, so the man is at mid-wicket. He's a key fielder in based on the way if Delplesh is going to continue to bowl that type of length and line. Seems to be Shallow there at mid-wicket.
This one is lofted over the top. That's gone for 6. A welcome boundary there for Ambrose. He's the attacker, and at this time the Botanical Breakers 11 for 1.
That delivery was a little too full. That one was, it was the length where batsman of Ambrose quality, he just had to step forward and loft that one straight down the ground. It was a little too full from Delplesh, and he would be well advised to bring his length back just that bit more. And even at that length, his slow ball will also be quite effective.
Well, he was cautioned and advised, as you say, by even Kieran Couture, who ran all the way from point to. Since that Kieran Couture is very familiar with Ambrose and also Captain Demba, he will be schooled, as we were saying. This one is tucked into the leg side. The square leg fielder comes off the boundary. He cleans up, sets it in powerfully, and restrict to 1, brings Ricarve 1 strike.
And the good thing about Delplesh there is that you saw the immediate adjustment. The line is similar because that's around the line where he seems to want to bowl, but the length, he pulled it back just a little bit to Ambrose to negate that shot that he was dispatched for in the previous delivery. So good thinking there and good enough execution by Delplesh on that occasion.
And I would always say this has been a very good drafting of having Delplesh. He's very talented. I've seen him played around the North Leeward tournament and in first division cricket. And that slow ball has caught a lot of fielders off guard, and I think it's a very good inclusion to Botanical Garden Rangers lineup of bowlers.
And yes, and if you're looking at his slow delivery, it seems as if he has more than one of them. And he has one that is particularly slow. It's a lot slower than all of the others. And that one was the one he just bowled there to Ricarve. Seemed to take an eternity to get to him, almost like a little off-spinner's flighted off break.
But had it been, well, it was hot up in that region, so Ricarve was able to adjust very well. Well, dead ball, signal by Empire Bayam. And Lanson, with the strong breeze that is been, do you think it's ideal for cricket at this time, even though the sun is out? That's when it pierced the man at point, going out to the boundary. 4 more as Ambrose dabs that one past the man at short point. I think he took a couple of steps in and he was beaten to his left as that one runs down to the third man boundary for 4 because the third man was up in the circle.
Yes, Cut was hunting there a little bit, but I think Delplesh on this delivery was guilty of oaring a little too far outside the off stump without someone deep behind square on the offside. So you need to be a bit straighter.
Slower delivery this time, beats Ambrose outside the off stump. End up the over. Quite intriguing second over for the Salpon Breakers. 17 for 1. Ambrose 15. Carvo Williams on 2.
Yes, fairly even at this point. No one really could say, well, we have the upper hand thus far. Their rate is 8.5 and over, and they require just over 9. So at this moment, it's not anything to speak about the difference between the required weight and the current run rate. And they have only lost 1 wicket, and importantly for the Saltpan Breakers, their captain Amherst is still there. And once he's there, they will feel very confident about chasing these runs.
Well, at this stage, the Botanical Rangers do a 26 without loss. It's a very good second over for the Botanical Rangers. Now this will bring Romaro Bibi into strike. And he will ask questions of Williams, which is Ricardo Williams. A lot of synonymous surnames have been included in all these teams. Short delivery, pull away, misfield there by Williams at fine leg. So William to Williams, it went to the boundary for 4 and 21 for 1, the Saltpan Breaker.
Yes, so the delivery was bowled by Williams, it was played by Williams, and it was misfielded by Williams. But that is not the line or the length that he would want to be bowling to, considering the field set that he has. Without a fine leg on the boundary, you have a short fine leg. At the pace of Bibi, who is not express, it is easy for Williams to tuck that one and get 4 runs down to fine leg, and he will want to avoid that area against this batsman with the field set that he has now.
Delivery again, just similar in nature, but this time this one wrapped up for a bit of the pace. Someone who likes those kind of short deliveries, Kazman Walters, he now resides in London. He would have liked this type of delivery that is just angling across him. But there are conference by Kotoy and Demba, and deploy bowling around the wicket to the batsmen for the Saltpan Breakers, cramping them for room. It seems to somewhat paying off. You will see.
Yes, so far it has been quite restrictive, except for the fuller delivery that was bowled by Delplesh to Ambrose that he locked it straight for 6. So far it seems to have been quite restrictive, and it will be important to see where it leads to from here.
What a shot by Ricardo Williams. He just used his wrist on that one and flicked it for 6 over mid-wicket.
That was a classy shot. He picked that up almost Virat Kohli-esque off his stumps.
Mirror.
But the issue there with Bibi is that he went to full, and that was the error for Delplesh when he struck for Super 6. And the same thing now for Bibi, just a little too full. The line is okay based on the field set and the plan that they have, but when it's full, it gives the batsman the ability now to just flick across the line.
Well, they will have to answer. Again, that short delivery played off the hips. This time the spectators in the front Thomas stand, they have to take aggressive action, and they are in mortal danger. They will need some helmets over there.
And they have to rethink this strategy. Come around the wicket, it is fine, but you have to get the ball to maybe pitch just around the stump and then go outside the off stump against the batsman. Right now, everything is on leg stump. And if you look at the field, there are 4 fielders on the leg side. And if everything is on leg stump and they want to persist with that plan, then they need to move another fielder over. Or, which I think is a better option, they need to get the ball to pitch an angle across the right-hander outside and to end up outside his off stump, as opposed to feeding the right-hander the hit.
Well, a bit of adjustment to the field now. So the captain would ask of Demba of Bibi, to bowl more of a wideish off stump delivery and come from over the wicket this time, as the square leg and the fine leg is up in the circle, and the third man and the sweep on the boundary, the back. This time a wideish delivery, and if we see the action of he has a hint of movement going away from the right hander, and that one, as we've seen that delivery, we're just leaving that to go by.
Yes, he can do that now because the over has already gone for 16. They're well up with the rate, so there's no him to on the risk and be dismissed and bring the Garden Rangers back into the game.
This one is edge past the mother keeper. Just what we will have as a 4 slip over the top of second slip area, and he rushes to the fence. 4 more runs. The third. It is the National Lottery 3D boundary 37 now for 1, end of the 3rd over. Good going there by the Saltpan Breakers.
Yes, excellent going, and the pressure now will be telling on the Botanical Gardens Rangers. As we see Williams, he has 22 from only 8 deliveries. He's a strong man. He hits the ball with some power, considerable power. And I was telling somebody else saying in the commentary box that if he bats for another 2 overs, the game will be done and dusted. The way that he is batting, and he's able to pick the ball over the boundary with considerable ease. We saw that one that went into the Frank Thomas Pavilion. It reminded me of a shot that was not just played here in 2003, where he cut Darren Powell onto the Frank Thomas Pavilion at the top of the first tier, the bottom of the first tier, and it bounced all the way back to point. Well, that was a serious cut shot.
Well, Ricardo seems to be taking up the mantle as he's 22 from 8 deliveries. Del Plesh will seem to be putting a restriction to this run flow as he gets a delivery cut away past man at point, and boy oh boy, it is raining boundaries here. 4 more runs to the Salt Pan Breakers, 4 more to Sunil, and the score moves up to 41 for 1. We're into over number 4.
Again, there must be some question here about the field set. Asking the bowler to bowl around the wicket, he's doing what he is told in terms of his. That wasn't necessarily that bad a delivery. A very good shot there, Sunil. But when you look at that, he's angling the ball across to the offside, and the ball is likely to go away behind point. I do not have anybody behind point on the boundary, and that I think is an error because it is the easier option for the batsman to do, and it's also a less risky option for him to get the ball away in that region. So you want to block up the things that are less risky, and the batsman really think of doing something outside of the box so that he has to take some risk, so you have an opportunity for a dismissal.
Well, a lot of marshalling of troops here, players running all about the place. So the third man now goes back, and the next conventional cricket field where we'll see third man and fine leg back in the power play. And well, the third man is up this time, and the square leg fielder goes back as Ambris. It's a wideish delivery outside the half stump, goes straight to the keeper. Some rarity in that delivery of a diamond delivery.
So we haven't said that much today at all, especially in this innings so far. I shouldn't say today, but in the second innings. And if that delivery could have been cut behind point for 4. So, you know, there are certain things that we have to question here as far as the field set is concerned.
Oh, down the leg side, white signal by umpire. Oh, looking for an out. And what will you... But you, Alans,
are the ones who execute those on the field.
Well, the execution is a must and must be on target, as that's the second wide in the over. Straight to deliver, slow ball. Look at this, a bit of hesitation. Shallow, a bit gingerly to be retrieving that ball. They were able to scamper through for 1. As the communication has not been that one of a profound communication between Ricardo and Ambris, but they have got ample time now to set himself in and bat. For the Salt Pan Breakers.
Yeah, they're definitely in the gun position, if you want to call it that. They are 44, only need to get another 48 runs in 39 deliveries. So the run rate required is not exorbitant.
Full length delivery, push down the ground. For 1, we're into over number 4, still in the power play. The current run rate is 12.21, 12.27. Require another 7.2. Should be an easy task here, knowing the peg batsmen that are still in the hut.
Yes, it should be, but we know that cricket is a game of glorious uncertainties, as they say. But you expect this to be 199 times out of 100.
That's a good length delivery right in the block hole area. Alonso, if you were to strategize against Sunil, what sort of bowling would have worked for Sunil? He's a talented batsman. Would you have just awaited him to make a fall shot or a bad shot, or what would you say? Another one down the leg side.
Well, it will all depend on the state of the game. If he comes into bat second, then the approach, depending what you have as a total to defend, those things you have to factor in as to what as to how you're going to go about your defense. Also, if he's batting first, as in the first innings of a game, I'll come back to that after this delivery.
Width away here, out to mid wicket, where the square leg fielder comes around and cleans it up. Back for the second one.
It also depends on the bowlers that you have in your armory. So if you have bowlers who you know can execute, and again we mentioned the execution before, execute your plan well, then there are several things that you may not try. They tried this time to get the ball to go across him, to cramp him a little bit for room. It seemed to have been working, but then they earned on the full a couple of times and they were lofted for boundaries. And I think again that's where the execution went awry. So the plan wasn't a bad one. And it may have helped if the execution was better to heap a little bit more pressure on the salt pan breakers. But we can discount the effect that Williams' innings is having on Ambrose. Ambrose now can throttle back. He's not now pressured to score most of the runs. And so he can take less risks and say, well, I will just be there at the end. While Ricardo Williams, who is striking at well over 200, he can press on the accelerator and add the impetus to the innings.
Well, and impetus to the innings depends on how well now Kenneth Demba, the captain, comes into the attack. And we've seen Demba not really to the wicket column as we would like, but he has been very restrictive whenever he comes on to bowl. At this time, the Botanic Garden Rangers, they would have been 39 for 3. It's the end of the power play, we must mention. And at the end of the power play, they are 48 for 1. Ricardo Williams 23, and Ambrose, who is now playing a second fiddle, is 22 from 14 deliveries. They require the Southern Breakers require some 44 runs from 36 deliveries.
Yes, it should be quite a simple equation from here on. They have 6 overs to get 44 runs. Just over 7 runs and over as Demba comes into bowl to recover.
This one he swings it in the air. It could go for 6. Well, this time it's 6 runs over the top. Straight hit there by Ricardo Williams. A super 6. And boy, oh boy, Ricardo want to finish it with a quick hunt.
Yes, as we mentioned previously, he's a very strong batsman. And that one, it was full enough for him to flat bat straight. It wasn't by no means a half volley, just full enough, and he had the width. Allowed him the use of his arms. And again, we mentioned before, so he gets us with that one. But yeah, we mentioned several times before that if he bats for another few deliveries, then the game will be over and done and dusted. And he already is showing that his intent is to keep going at the bowling.
Well, as a captain, you know the bowlers that you're going to use in these conditions, in these ranges. Do you try something unorthodox, like a Samuel? He normally bowls a medium pace. Do you give the regular bowlers there too? This time he's got him, caught at cover, and boy, oh boy, it was a stinging shot. The fielder, he had to throw that ball out of his hand as quick as possible. Providence takes the catch, and Ricardo goes, it's 2:55. Sunil goes, 55 for 2, and boy, oh boy, can we call it here?
Yeah, it's an important wicket. They needed to actually stay in the game. We can't say that it has brought the game over to their favor, the Botanical Gardens Rangers, but it at least would help them feel that they have the opportunity to at least try to make a comeback here now into the game. That one was full outside the Sunil looking to loft that one over the extra cover fieldsman. In the end, it seemed as if he was a little bit too close to pitch, so he didn't get the elevation that he wanted, and it was a nice catch. it was well struck, and it was a nice catch there taken by Province, and Ambrose goes back into the hut.
Well, John now comes to do battle, as he really didn't have a good time with the ball. He should be able to make up or make amends, as we will say, for his somewhat poor bowling. Yeah, and they require some 37 runs from 33 balls. It's 55 for 2, went to over number 5.
And this is where this team is a very dangerous team, because when you look at the number 3 and 4 that they have in their team in this game, Ricardo Williams, you have somebody of the caliber of Ryan John. After you have dismissed Sunil Ambrose and the other opener, Lewis, and you keep seeing batsmen like these coming out, it can be, if you are not very careful, you can get a little discouraged.
They take spectacular catches like what Zaman did to really put some pressure back onto the breakers. For example, if we see that John happens to get a 1 ball, let's not hope for that. Well, that will kind of lift the team. Oh, this one, he guides it past the man. Short third man, he goes to the boundary. John is off the mark, and I wish to say I am at peace now that he didn't have a 1 ball. But the first ball, he's chucking for 4.
Yes. Maybe if he had said he would have struck his first delivery for 4, then he might have been dismissed, because quite often when the commentator says something, then the opposite ends up happening. And he's off the mark. There was a fuller delivery, looking for more of a Yorker length. There was Demba, and he opened the face. He may not have been aiming that fine, but he still got the boundary. National Lotteries Authority 3D boundary.
Demba still in the hunt. Rage for wicket. All this delivery straight. John pays due respect to that one, as we will see.
So they require only 33 from 31 now.
Should be easy walk in the park and not ranging for that. Oh, this one is shot fiercely down the ground. Should not be couple. As we see the school children here out and doing some spectating today. And we'll have to verify the school that is there. But it's good to see that children are out to get a feel of cricket and the feel of how things are at Adamsville Bowling Field.
Yes, it is very important. And as I mentioned in a previous game when we had some students here as well, that as a child, you watch the game on the television, you might play it with persons of your age, but when you come and you see the game live, at a reasonably high level, then it gives you a new appreciation for what is done in the game.
Let me put you on this balance. Have you ever gone to a live game and look for a replay?
No. As a matter of fact, when we were watching cricket in those days, most of the stadiums didn't have any. Well, Arnesville still doesn't have, but none of the stadiums had any replay boards. I think my first internet match that I watched at Arnesville was 1991. Australia was playing here. But it was not an ODI.
But I believe we look for replay.
President 11.
As this time we see Samuel comes into the attack, and number 12 on his back. He will take up battle for the Botanical. They're really searching for wickets, and they need some special run out, something to really lift the momentum of their runs, of their wicket column. As this one, first delivery straight, somewhat straight angling down the leg, and Bibi cleans up at 5 leg. And with Samuel, you will not get pace, you will get a gentle medium. He bowls it wicket to wicket and asks the batsman to manufacture their own shot.
Well, hopefully it works a trick for the Botanical Gardens Rangers, because they need something to happen.
It must into the mid wicket region. Shallow comes out the boundary as it cleans up and returns to the keeper. Quiet over, well, 2 balls, just 2 runs so far. Wicket to wicket delivery, and something that commentators would like to see, if not a Yorker, is either you hit or I hit. Stands down the chap, John.
Yes, and he's definitely aiming to bowl those those Yorker lengths, and you can see the batsman, John in that case, the batsman, he made an adjustment to try to get there on the full, and he was successful in getting so. But when he got there, it was still close enough to him that he was tucked up a little bit, so he just flicked it for a single.
Question asked of LW now, said Empire Bayam, and this camper 3-for-1. Good delivery, good over so far.
Yes, yep. The umpire may have judged that that one was going down the left side with the angle. Still a very close call. It might be one of those that if there was a review, it might have been given umpire's call.
Because if you look at Samuel's action, his hands at the point of execution goes down towards that leg side area. And he bowls wide of the crease. So there's a lot of question, well, not a lot of question for the umpire to answer. Yes, as we see on the replay screen, it's really heading towards that left stump, somewhat of a fourth stump region. Angling to the pads, good axe, tight over. Do you as a batsman, Alansu, pay dues and respect to good bowling, or you just get them off as and see to get out of it?
Well, at the level of cricket I was playing, you beat all the bowling because, I mean, it wasn't that serious.
Okay. I see, I hear you. Well, India could be taken on the last delivery. He goes. The Sarpan Breakers loses their third wicket. It's 4-for-3. Good pressure over. Well, actually, it's a no ball. It's a no ball. A celebration keep going on here. And boy, oh boy, we have a no ball. And is it a front foot no ball, or we're still players in the circle? Front foot no ball it is. Well, that's a cardinal sin, and boy, we just add salt to the wound.
Well, we were just about to commend Samuel for an excellent over, and you were talking about if you were in the coach's position, what would happen. And here we are seeing a bowler who hasn't bowled just far in the tournament, and he's proving that he has at least the discipline to execute a plan, and that is also needed. And he's doing that also under pressure, which is very good. But he has transgressed the line, and what would have been 4-for-1 off his over, he now has a free hit, and he's bowling to John.
Well, this time he only succeeds to get it down to the Malay. He is taken, but he can't be out of a free hit except to the run-out route. And boy, until a very disciplined over, must give it to Samuel.
Yes, in the end, discipline with most things except with the foot going over the line. And so he hasn't bowled much in the tournament, so probably he's a little bit rusty. And that may account for the no ball. But it's something that you'd want to avoid at all costs, because in this case, it has cost his team a wicket that may have seen them actually, just claw their way back just that bit more in this innings as they seek to defend 91.
And that's what I was alluding to earlier on. As a captain, you do not go with your nice bowlers. You go with somebody unorthodox who you're not accustomed to see. And there we see a very good over there by Samuel, bringing somewhat of the comparison of the game, 26 from 24 balls. This delivery is bowl him. John goes. Look, heave Demba over the top of long arm mid-wicket region. And boy, they have lost the third wicket this time. And conformative, there is no ball. And boy, he has a long walk, a lonely walk back to the pavilion with only the spider come over his head.
Yes, I think that when John sits down and reflects on this game overall, his performance with bat and ball, he'll be very disappointed. And he will think that as the overseas player, he owes his team a better performance in their next game, which from this position seems to be in the final. But you never know. The Ghana Rangers would have other thoughts, and if they are able to defend these runs, it means that the next game for the Breakers will be tomorrow. But of course, Arnell Thomas would have other ideas. He was the emerging player in the last competition. He has come in to replace John, and he would want to get his team over the line here. They need less than 8 runs and over, just over 6 runs. And it should
need
get
to
that.
be reminded that Williams is still there.
Yes.
And one of the problems that you don't want is a batsman who is going at it, being off the strike for too long, because to get back in momentum would be somewhat of a challenge.
O'Neill will be to give Ricardo Williams a strike.
Delivery down in that black hole. If you look at Demba's bowling, he's not spinning that ball. He's somewhat an off-break bowler, but he's coming to with such pace. That's a Yorker at your pace, Lance.
Yeah, that's a quick delivery there from him. He's looking to get them on the crease to restrict the batsman. This one.
Fuller length. Right, fuller length delivery, whip to it to mid-wicket. Only managed one.
Yeah, that one he attempted a similar delivery, but that time he just overtossed a little and it was a full. And so Thomas was able to get off the mark, 67 for 3. They require another 25 of 3.5 overs. I still can't call it just yet. They never know what can happen. As we said, cricket is a game of glorious uncertainties.
Ricardo will be a very big wicket at this time. As this time he struck it down the ground over the top of the man at Collie, and he will not be able to get 4, but he restricted to 1. And boy, as we said, the heart was in his hand there at one point.
Yes, at one moment it seems as if Providence was getting under it, but he had enough on it to eventually elude him, and so they were able to get 1 run, and Thomas is back on strike.
A lot more batting left in the hut, and we have always alluded, you do not want to leave that sort of responsibility on the batsmen in I'm not taking it from their credibility, but you are out there, do the job out here, and leave the rest to relax for another day.
Yes, and based on what we have seen from Thomas thus far and the few deliveries that he has faced, it seems as if he's made up his mind that he's gonna bat through the innings. He's not going to give his wicket away. He has not had many runs so far in the tournament, with disappointment with that. So he'd want to put in a good performance today.
Well, they shot down the ground. They're going for 1. And they only set up for 1. And a good over there by them. But we've seen 2 good overs coming back to back from the Botanical and Rangers. With Ricardo not having exposed to a lot of strike, could you see some sort of pressure, depending on how this over goes, going into the last 2?
It's possible, but he should not feel that pressure. Ideally, as you said, it would have been good for him to have a bit more strikes so that he will keep keep himself in the groove, so to speak, as he has been striking the ball very well. But he should not really be feeling that pressure. They need 23 for 18. The required run rate is not inordinate, so they should be able to get over the line, and that is what we're thinking now, that these two should be saying, let's be there at the end and have some not-outs, taking our team over the line here.
Well, we have Samuel now come back for 2nd over. Oh, a delivery again. He's chucking that pad. The batsman fucking had good questions being asked here by Samuel. Just a hint over. Just 1 more to the off stump, and he should be getting some questions. If we just strike that right leg more than that left leg, there will be a lot of questions asked, and Empire would have to be determining who is not.
Yeah, notwithstanding the angle of Samuel, that one seemed just to be a little bit closer than the previous appeal.
Oh, closer delivery, too close to cut. Do you think this will be a good time to keep Thomas on strike? He's not exposed to a lot of strike. He's not, as you said, he's not in the run scoring venture, and he really struggling. He needs to get Williams on strike.
Yeah, so looking for cut with the angle, the ball continues to come into him, so he should be looking to play with a straighter bat.
Down the ground, he could come back for the 2nd. We go for 1. Halfway into the over, brings Ricardo Williams into strike. 70 for 3. Nail biting finish, we would say. and he's heading to that fingernail part of the game.
And so far, Samuel has been doing a good job. In spite of the no ball that he has bowled, or probably I should say, instead of in spite of, with the exclusion of that no ball, he has been doing a good job.
Full length delivery down the ground. Del Plush cleans up, and Williams will be somewhat. And this is where Williams have to be calm, because he's the one that is shaking. But the problem is he's not getting most of the strike as he will wish to. As this Thomas comes back into strike, can Samuel finish the over with Thomas on strike? Instead of heave down the track. Oh, one bounce just short of Del Plush. And time he will get on in the ground. If he had put in a little dive into that, do you think he would have questioned a bit more?
Yes. So that one, he could have put in a dive, but he might be saying that, with Thomas. Well, we'll come back to that.
Down the ground again. So the last 4 deliveries have gone to Del Plush, shows the discipline of Samuel bowling that full length delivery and going into this penultimate over. That is the error that you want the Botanical bowlers to be bowling 73 for 3.
So Samuel, he has bowled 2 overs and he has gone for 9 runs, and he really should have had a wicket if he had not transgressed the front line. And so if you're looking at, yes, it would have been a run less as well, because no ball would not have accrued to his bowling figures. And if you're looking at the situation of the game now, they now require 9.5 runs per over, and the gap between the deliveries remaining and the runs required, that was once very, very tiny, even a couple of overs ago. There's now a little gap that is opening up there. And so they will most likely want to see how many they can get off this penultimate over, so that they're not under too much pressure if the game goes over into the last over.
Well, it is pressure all over this place. As the spectators, they cannot even sit proper. As we see Kemali comes back into the strike, in the bowl. And I believe he will need to bowl a full length air, but he needs to get it right because Ricardo on strike. This time he heaved it away over the top, and the soft lip variant pavilion, boy, that is in some danger zone, and it struck it for another super 6. Welcome 6 there.
Yes, that was a serious shot. That ball was not short, it was not full, and he just stood tall on his back foot and just went through the line there, and that one went, I would say, about 85-90 meters from the bat. That's a serious shot there by Ricardo Williams, a super 6.
Well, he moves on to 40 from 17, delivering that the Salt Pan Breakers will welcome, and the Botanical Rangers will not want, as Williams will be questioned now and put to the sword. Wide the delivery, it's a wide signal by Empire. Butler, 1 more to the total.
So the pressure is on him now. We were saying before the over started that they required 9.5. Now they actually require 12 from 11 deliveries. It's with that one blow from Williams. Well, Ricardo Williams, that is. As we know that there are several Williams playing in the same game, and sometimes that could be a little confusing for viewers. So Ricardo, we are speaking of there, that one blow by him. So Kemali, the other Williams, he would want to ensure that these next few deliveries are tighter and close into the batsman on a good length.
Just that area you're talking about. And I'm very disappointed that Williams had given Ricardo Williams somewhat of a reach delivery the first ball that allowed him to free his arms and somewhat destroy him for 6. But still, it is welcomed by the Salt Pan Breakers.
Yes, that was a good shot, as we mentioned before. And Williams, it seems he has learned his left foot for his delivery. So he needs to ensure that he is a bit fuller. He's bowling at the depth. Remember that these are just the last 2 deliveries. So the Yorker length is always the best length at this time.
Well, the semi is heaved away again to that soft very area. The spectators, they are jumping and scampering, taking evasive action. Boy, oh boy, somebody down there is in mortal danger. That goes for another super 6. That's 6 more runs.
Yeah, that one was right in the arc of the batsman. And Ornell Thomas, a shortish batsman, and he was there in his stance, and basically that one was just there with enough for him to swing. And with his backlift, that one went over long on for a super six. And at this stage, the game is firmly in the hands of the Saltpan Breakers.
Well, it only takes one shot, and let's see. This time it's more delivery, Yakalent delivery. It could be run out, he's out. Ricardo goes, and boy, it's a tale of two tail.
I have a question in my mind as to why he needed to have run off that delivery. They require off only what? 5 runs from, they required 5 runs from 9 deliveries. And you are the batsman who is set. You are who is striking the ball. You are well in the ascendancy. So if Ornell remains on strike, maybe for the rest of this over and what he can, or for at least the next delivery, that's not a problem. But maybe it's the frustration that has boiled up in him from missing a lot of strike in the earlier overs, and now when actually Ornell starts to hit the ball and it's no longer that, a lot of the pressure is on him only, that you see that he is looking to steal a strike there.
Well, Emmanuel Stewart was very quick out to that one, keeper. Now brings Dillon Johnson into the strike. He also has some long levers. And I think by now the Botanic Garden Rangers will know the zone to bowl to him. A very good batsman. Let's not take it away from him. He's also a finisher of the game. Just requires some 5 runs. I don't foresee him playing any fall shot. The other Thomas also is injured, somewhat grimaced from that last delivery. It seems that ball had went off his bat onto his ankle area. Could be very painful.
Yes, and that's another reason why it really would have puzzled as to why they would have taken that single, because Thomas could have been run out at the other end as well.
Did you say double play? This time?
No, really. Yeah, because he was hobbling through for that run, and there's every chance that Stewart could have taken the option of throwing to the other end. So, there was risk involved at both sides, if you want to think of it that way. And it's not just where you need the runs. Let's say you needed 2 runs off one ball, or you need a run off the last ball where you have to run. They have a lot of deliveries in hand. So the risk, maybe if you think about it now in hindsight, it wasn't required at the time.
Well, it only required 4 runs for 7 balls. It should be easy walk in the park here for the Saltpan Breakers. Marley, wideish delivery. Very good delivery to end the over. Over number 9 comes to a conclusion. And this over 89 for 4. 89 for 4. I request 3 runs from 6 balls.
And 16 runs came off that over there by Williams. That last delivery that he bowled, wide Yorker, just along the wide line and right under the Yorker length, that may have been where he was aiming when he was struck for 6 by Thomas over long on. But where he just missed that length, he was just a little short of that, and it allowed Thomas to get under the delivery and lifted him over long on. Bibi, who has bowled a very good final over so far in the tournament against the same opposition, he's bowling now in this final over, and can he pull off another one here for his team against the odds?
Super over?
Well, let's say for the fans' sake and for the sake of the neutral, they would want to see maybe a super over here just to lift the excitement even further.
But in the likely event of a super over, who do you believe should be the ascendancy of attacking that ball? Will you send back for Williams, Ricardo Williams? Seeing that his blood flow is there?
Well, if I were them, it would be William and Bruce.
Okay.
To open. I don't know who just yet who I'll have as my third batsman, but definitely those two will be opening for me if I were the Breakers and it were to get to that point.
Well, I don't think that this is what the Saltpan Breakers will welcome at this time, but the Botanic Garden will always welcome that.
Yes, it will give them another opportunity to pull off the game. After I'm sure that they were very disappointed with their batting in the first innings.
And then remember, this is the top time they're meeting, and they are locked at 1-1 so far. So this is somewhat of a decider. And the first one, they really had a good version against the Saltpan Breakers. Straight, pull him! Romario Bibi, ball Thomas. And boy, oh boy, are we going to see what we are asking for. Commentators, please do not request something you want to see.
Well, I'm looking at that shot, and I'm wondering why O'Neill would have played that shot. Why he played that shot of that particular delivery, because requiring only, well, let's say less than a run a ball at this stage. All he needed to do was to block that with a straight bat and take off for the single and rotate the strike.
Cian Sween comes to the attack, and you see a lot of cooling there from Dylan Johnson. He will be speaking to Sween like a child, a father to a child. And boy, oh boy, they really do not want to go down after such a close finish. Well, we will see. Lance, I believe your veins and the blood is pumping. You don't even know how to call this one.
No, exciting cricket.
More flavor, more vibes.
Definitely more flavor and more vibes. It's easy for me to call to because I'm a neutral. But we're looking at the game, and we want to see close games, good cricket, and this is what has been on offer here today. We are thankful for that.
That ball, it looked well. Well, this Camper for one. Dylan comes on to strike. Good bowling there from Didi. It's not giving width, it's just bowl that wicket to wicket length. As you see, the Camper Swing now comes off the mark. 90 for 5. 90 for 5 going to go last over. 2 runs to get from 4 balls. Alanson, what do you make of this?
Yes, it's still firmly in favour of the team that is batting. But stranger things have happened in cricket, so you never know what can happen from here on. But it also goes to show the Botanical Gardens Rangers that just with a little bit more application with it, that they would have been in a better position at this stage.
This could be close, could be close. Oh, well, there was no one backing up. Demba had to run from somewhat of a wideish middle area to back up, and by the time that was so, with a high show, they were able to make the one, and just one more run for victory from 3 balls. They are 1 for 5. What do you say, Alan?
Well, again, what we have seen so far from these two teams is that they play as if they are on top of the table. And you can see the Botanical Gardens Rangers, even though they had a disappointing batting output, they still have done well with the ball to bring it so close.
Oh, this one is off the pad, down left side. 4 runs, it goes into the fence. The Salt Pan Breakers, they have won this first qualifier. And boy, oh boy, oh boy. 4 runs, the Salt Pan Breakers, the fans, they are really having the fun. And has always been at the backing of the Salt Pan Breakers. They have always walked with their multitude of fans. And they have finished a 5-wicket win over the Botanic Garden Rangers, who dismally down earlier on in the first innings for a poor performance of 91 all out. And the Botanic Garden Rangers, they could not have restricted the Salt Pan Breakers. They only were able to get them up to 95 for 5 of their allotted 9.4 deliveries.
So when you look at the batting lineup there and the scorecard for the Breakers, Ambrose, he got 22. Ricardo Williams, I think, played the decisive innings of 41 of 18 deliveries, and that really was the decisive innings that really got them over the line. And credit should go to him. It would have been nice if he had stayed there until the end, but he was run out for 41 of 18 deliveries. John got 8, Thomas 11, Lewis was dismissed without scoring, and Johnson and Sween, both of them got singles at the end to take their team over the line. And for the bowling, Kimani Williams, he would be very disappointed with his second over that went for 16 in the 9th over, which really swung the pendulum in favour of the Salt Pan Breakers after the Botanical Gardens Rangers had really clawed their way back into the game. And Delpesh, 2 overs, 4 dots, none for 23, 1 for 22. Demba 2 for 15 off his 2 overs, he bowled well. And also Samuel was maybe the couple of bowlers for the Botanical Gardens Rangers. and he acquitted himself well by bowling 2 overs, none for 9.
Well, boy, oh boy, if you were sitting, standing, or whatever you were doing, you had more flights, more flavor, and boy, actually more flair in that run chase, and a bit of questions being asked the Botanical Rangers. I missed the fact it was a low total. I believe that bowling really restrict and asked the Salt Pan Breakers of the questions. Well, that brings us to the end of the first qualifier game, and we will see the second qualifier coming up against the Darkview Explorers, coming up against the Lassafree Hikers in a couple of minutes' time. And boy, if you did not enjoy that one, it was a game to remember. It's not the finals as yet, but this is where things get heated. This is where teams are going to go helter-skelter. Yes, and we know that both teams will be wanting to win this game for sure, because if they don't, then it is bye-bye body. it is all over for them. But both teams will want to win and continue playing, because if they win and they continue winning, then they would go into the final with a winning momentum and also with some confidence, even though they will be going up against the Breakers. So whoever wins this game will be playing against the Botanical Rangers tomorrow in an effort to get into the finals against the Salt Pan Breakers. So it's all or nothing here, and both teams will need to win or else. Or else. Well, the Salt Pan Breakers, as you mentioned, is sitting in the final position. They wait whoever completes this game and also the Botanical Garden games tomorrow against the winner of this one, the second qualifier. And boy, it's exciting cricket from here. I am so lucky to be sitting in this capacity at this time, and we want to thank you. We have been watching live cricket here from Arnoldville playing field here. Remember, this is a Dream 11 T10 VPL tournament, and we're coming to you from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And boy, please don't go too far. We will be right back with the second game. We're coming to you with the kind compliments of the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Inc., the Dream 11 super partners, the National Lottery Authority, VC3 Fan Code, and our friends at ITFX SVG. We will be back shortly to give you qualifier number 2.
Few explorers, the Grenadines divers, coach all the strikers. Somebody celebrate your team. Last team breakers, these Salt Pan Breakers, Botanical Rangers. It's from the bleachers we would see. VPL is more flavor, more vibes. VPL that bring the stadium alive. VPL, this is the joy of we life. It's the Vincy Premier League. Darkview Explorers, the Grenadines divers, coach all the strikers. Somebody celebrate your team.